Welcome to AI Podcast with Zach. From expert tips and the latest trends to must-hear guest insights, ready to future-proof your brand?
I'm a big fan of yours. Love Audit, by the way.
Thanks.
Ahab's Curse. Wow.
Oh, man. Yeah, thank you. For the last 15, 20 years, I've been a content creator, filmmaker. We produced a lot of outdoor content, fishing shows. And then when these tools came out, I decided to embrace them instead of run the other way. And the first things I did with it were horrendous. I thought they were awesome, but they were horrendous. And then when I learned how to build consistency, like with characters and settings and style, it really opened the door to try different ways of telling stories.
That's super neat. When you had kind of started looking into AI or the tools itself, was that, I don't know, a year ago, 2 years ago? When did you get started into this?
About a year ago.
About a year ago.
It's a short time.
And from a year ago to today, I'm sure it's changed in terms of tools, graphics, animation.
So the first tool I played with was Luma a year ago. And it was straight just text to video prompts for me. I didn't know what I was doing. So what I would get back was usable to me because I thought it was incredible. I could just type in part of my screenplay, let's say, and see something close to what I was portraying. But over the course of, I would say, the last 6 months, almost all of the tools have advanced at an unbelievable rate. So they all do something a little bit differently, a little bit better than each other, but they have all progressed. Like, it's incredible how fast this is moving.
Have you had a chance to play with Sora yet?
No, not yet. I wasn't part of the Cool Kids Club, and
I know.
I was like, I have enough subscriptions, and I have Hailu and Runway and Luma partnerships, so I mostly use that at MidJourney for everything. But yeah, if an opportunity pops up that I could try it, I'd like to try it.
So Justin, as the AI film guy, we hear about this in film a lot where, we don't want AI in our industry. How are you able to say, okay, let's embrace this. Let's take this and utilize it instead of going against the grain? Because I think that's a lot of the questions people have these days.
I look at it like you have a paintbrush, right? And a paintbrush is not going to paint your house or the Sistine Chapel by itself. It always takes a human. It's just a tool that allows us to express differently or traditionally, we feel like, depending on what your workflow is. So before there was nonlinear editing, there was, these archaic sewing machines and tape and scissors. And when that got introduced, they were up in arms that there was actually something digital that might take away their jobs. It was just a new tool to learn. So that's the way I always looked at AI. Most people don't know, we've probably been using AI for like 45 years or more. So
it's so true. We have been, yeah. But we look at Blockbuster, we look at Netflix, we look at Yellow Pages, we look at Google.
Yeah.
It's, evolving. It's horse and buggy to a vehicle.
Exactly. So I think the marriage of traditional filmmaking and using AI to make a film or to make any video for that matter, let's say, I think that's where the secret sauce is going to lay. It's going to be in the fact that you can still shoot something and introduce AI. I thought recently there was a commercial that came out for Land Rover Defender. I don't know if you caught that one.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh man, yeah, check that one out because it's exactly that. The shots were done inside the garage, and everything outside of the garage was AI. So it was a good marriage of traditional and AI format, which I think is the future. I still think that we're 2 or 3 years out from mass adoption, but I think in the next, every week I see more traction. I have more meetings. I work with more agencies. There's a lot of brands that are publicly against it, but working with their agencies on how to use it. So it's not going to go away.
No, and that's the thing. We have a choice. Do we adopt it or do we kind of just go against the grain? I mean, I saw Tyler Perry earlier this year kind of mention something about pausing his studio.
I saw that as well, that he was going to pause a massive expansion of his studio. I think everyone was just trying to like read the tea leaves, so to speak, and see where the industry was going to head to. And I think we're way too early.
But that's a great place to be.
It is.
To adopt, to kind of have these conversations to see well, how will this work? How will we adopt it? So for brands, are they proudly representing it? I mean, we saw Coca-Cola do that.
Yeah. Land Rover has it out in rotation, from what I know. The brands that have made it and were happy with it, obviously, they've been promoting them. I've seen several AI ads, and mostly on YouTube, I see a lot of AI ads in their ads. So, but these major brands coming into using their agencies and using their creative teams, and outside sources, they're coming out with commercials they're proud of. And they should be. Actually, the Defender one, you'd never know it's AI. You'd absolutely not any frame of that would you think it was AI. So I think 6 months from now, a year from now, the tools will advance beyond anything I could describe today, probably.
Maybe late last year, I saw this Will Smith eating spaghetti.
Yeah.
And what it looked like versus what it looks like today. And that was, today meant a few months ago. Imagine what it's going to be like next year in terms of quality. We won't even know what's real and what's not. Is that true?
I don't know.
Well, you could tell.
It depends. I mean, it really depends on the style of what we're watching, I think you get away with it a lot in animations, in cartoons. I think there's a lot of room there it would be hard to tell which is which. But everything else, I don't know what in 6 months it's going to look like. But right now, I can tell when it's a human that is portrayed by AI. With animations and cartoons, very hard to tell sometimes.
When you had created Audit, was that your first video or one of your first videos?
No. I had done the first few videos I had started with were like proof of concept kind of like videos for like screenplays I had written in the past. So I was just playing like with material that I had. I wasn't using any chat AI or chat GPT. I was just basically copying and pasting my script with my camera prompts and stuff. And it came out decent, like for what the tools offered then. But now my workflows, it starts with the image. So I started MidJourney for everything. So I can keep a consistent style. But yeah, the Audit one came out. That was my first probably MidJourney piece.
MidJourney, okay.
Where I created those images for each character.
I was looking at tools, and thank you for recommending a few for me to kind of play around and get started. I think that's so important is there is no secret sauce. It's the creativity. The tools are there. It's just how do you utilize them? How do you learn with them? How does someone kind of find their way? Because there's thousands of tools out there.
I would say try them. Try a few. Don't be a slave to the subscriptions at all. But maybe in the trial period, or maybe for just trying for 1 month. But pick a couple, and the one that you feel most comfortable with is the one that you continue with. You keep that subscription, and you get very comfortable with the tools that it offers. And then MidJourney is one that's very easy to use, and it creates any images. So if you have a combination of MidJourney and Luma, or MidJourney and Runway, or even MidJourney and Minimax High Look, you have the ability to make an image, keep a consistent character, and then animate it in those either one of those three programs. Kling as well you can use, but one of those programs might work better for you or the way that you like to work. So that's why I recommend everyone stick to like 4 or 5 that allow you to use image to video. There's plenty of them out there, and whichever one you like to work that you works with your workflow the best is stick with that.
You know, it's so true, because I started looking at CapCut recently, because a lot of the reels are moving that way. But for myself, I'm still a Premiere guy.
Yeah.
You know, there's Final Cut guys. There's so many, right? DaVinci. So it's almost like, who are you?
I use Final Cut and I use Premiere. But when I started, it was all Avid, and then it was Final Cut 2, and then it was Adobe, Premiere, the original before it was Premiere Pro and all that stuff. So I've been with them all, but they're all just tools. So,
are you seeing a lot of the folks kind of move into adopting these tools now in your industry, from the guys you know and the gals you know out there?
If I did, I'd have a studio already with like 30 people in it. I swear, none of my friends that are in it, traditionally, that we've been working together for years, none of them have adopted the tools.
I've seen a few studios come up now, especially in the States.
There's one, actually both of them are in California. There's Promise and there's Secret Level. There's another one that just came out, I think, yesterday or today, called Six Finger. But it's incredible because like Promise and Secret Level, they got venture capitalists like investing into creative, So I think that's a really, really smart move on their part, really, really good foresight. But we're in the basement yet still. And I think we're on the way that in a year and a half from now, AI as an industry will be in the penthouse. But it's just a matter of all these companies actually coming forward and these brands doing deals and working with companies like Promise and Secret Level and traditional agencies that are getting into the game as well. Like, the more brands come along, which it seems like there's more demand, that's what's going to usher in the entertainment industry to look at the IP and look at, those copyright laws and how they can, if everyone makes money in the entertainment industry, that traditionally made money, then everyone will be happy. So
Promise has done some pretty cool things as well recently, and I can't remember, there's a few guys that kind of came together to do that. They had created a short that I had seen that was beautiful. It's called Battalion.
Oh yeah, Dave Clark. Yeah, Dave Clark. He does amazing work. He was the one when I first started looking at like AI things. I came across his videos, and it like sparked me to be like, hey, this guy's like me. He's a traditional filmmaker and traditional content creator. That's his jam. But he's embraced these tools before anybody. So I tried them, and like 2 months in, I was like, wow, I'm really terrible with these, and I was swamped with work. So it took like a 1 month break, and then I would say for the last year, like, it's been solid, where I've been working with images, working with videos, playing with like different music ones, and 11 Labs for voices, and really the creative output is like quadrupled.
So for someone that wants to get in the industry, wants to adopt this technology, a guy that's, a marketer, a solo marketer, or, wants to transition into this job, how can they do so? Is there business opportunities out there for a solo person?
So I think that definitely there are. I think the industry has been democratized, so to speak, but it hasn't been democratized quite yet. I think, like I said, like when more brands start coming in, the opportunities are going to be much more than what they currently are. But what I would recommend, if someone wants to get into this and possibly look at it like a career, learn the tools. Learn one tool. Feel very comfortable with that one tool. once you have a basis of what your workflow is, it's constantly evolving. So you got to go to the basics. So if you build your basics and you learn these tools and you learn 3-act structure, if you don't know it, and you know story, if you don't know storytelling, learn, you know, the concept and how to tell like thematics like within your story and how to stick with it. I think storytelling is important in every single video, whether it's feature, short, music video, it doesn't matter what it is. I think the story is super important. So I would recommend everyone that wants to come into this to use storytelling as a tool itself and learn the tech so you can combine them.
And when I looked at Ahab's curse, I'll obviously add the link, was amazing to see. My goodness.
Thank you.
Congrats on that, by the way.
No, thank you. That was it's like 2.5 weeks of work on that one. You know, I used 11 labs for all the voiceovers, and all the sound effects as well. Then I used Udio music for the film score, and then I created, I don't know, like 1,800 images in MidJourney, until I got my 200-300 cream of the crop and used those and started animating in Luma, and then all the lip syncing I did with Runway. So I can't tell you, for like a week and a half I was working on this and I was like, oh man, this is a mess. And it was it was just like, it was just like more organizing and building as I was going, but I had to focus on like 1 minute pieces, because the whole thing was a bear to knock down Moby Dick the book into like a 9-minute animated film. It was it wasn't so simple, but
it looked 3D to me at times. It was popping out, and I thought it was so intriguing and captivating. I just kept wanting to watch it more. I was like, tell me more.
Oh man, thank you. No, yeah, that style that I did with Ahab, that I did with Heartbeat, that's something that I'm going to continue. Like, there's a lot of work in the public domain, a lot of classic literature, and there's Greek mythology, and there's a ton of things out there that I feel like don't have as much importance in our society anymore. And classic literature is something that was always close to my heart. And my mother would read me a ton of different books and stories throughout, from 1-year-old on. Like, she was always reading. So it was a big impression on me. So yeah, those kind of animations and cartoons, I'm definitely going to be continuing to evolve that as well.
When it comes to classic literature, what was some of the books that your mom read to you that resonate with you today?
Oh man, there's so many. So as I got older, I got into Edgar Allan Poe myself. So I have a ton of those, but my mom never read me that. She would read me like Treasure Island and Gulliver's Travel and Oliver Twist, and you know, like really like a lot of classic lit.
It's nostalgic when you brought up Oliver Twist. You know,
Yeah.
we forget these times. We move on, and again, like you said, it's in the back burner, and the next generation probably does not know about this stuff.
You know, I remember reading Oliver Twist in grammar school with a physical book, you know, and I don't think these kids are reading out of a physical book anymore, like Oliver Twist. Like, they might read it on an iPad maybe, but
Kindle.
yeah, I think these animations have the possibility to be good educational tools for that industry as well. You know, imagine going into class and you're 11 and you're about to go into like this boring English class, but they're going to show you a 9-minute cartoon, you know, and it's going to get you into the, like, what you're about to read, you know, what the chapter you're about to get into. I think it's a good tool, but I don't know. Maybe I think too traditionally. So.
That's okay, because I think that's the beauty in it. You need the traditional and you need today's time, and you blend the two, and I think there's magic, and that's what you've created here, you know, and I think you're going to continue to do some amazing things. We look at Canada, where I'm from, we don't have the adoption like the States do. We have a lot of incredible folks that have come out of here, scientists, researchers, in terms of AI. But the film industry itself it's tough to break that barrier. I've had this kind of vision and goal to kind of bring like a Canadian International AI Film Fest here.
Mm.
I've seen it in Arizona, AI Film.
Yeah, I was.
Oh, were you there?
Yeah, I was there.
How was that, by the way, in terms of kind of seeing it all happen?
It was actually great. Yeah, I was there from the 31st to like the 2nd, and it was awesome. You got to see your film on the big screen, which is always cool. We had a red carpet. There was a pretty good turnout, maybe like 100 people.
That's okay.
Yeah,
we're again early stages in all of this.
But it was a lot of good community, like a lot of networking. Even the film commissioner for the state of Arizona came out, which was cool to see that they're supporting AI as well. So yeah, no, that was a great one. There's one coming up in Seattle, AI Film 3.
And what's that 3 stand for, by the way?
I think it stands for Web 3.
Web 3, 3.0. Okay.
Yeah. But I think they're going to try to come out with one like every 3 or 4 months in a different city. But I think it would be awesome to do one in Canada. What part of Canada are you in?
So I'm in Alberta, but next to me is Vancouver. And they have the Vancouver Film School, Toronto Film Schools. Canada's smaller, but I think it would be neat to kind of break that barrier here and then hopefully have you come out one day.
Oh, that would be cool. I'd love to come out there. I think that's the other angle of AI that allows the world to become a much smaller place. Like on a weekly basis, I'm working with people that are in Spain. I got somebody I work with that's in the Himalayas. Like there's people all over the place. I think that's beautiful. Because it really opens up a whole different palette for how you can tell a story and how people are going to consume it as well.
Were you nervous, though, at first to kind of get into this, coming from a traditional background?
I was not nervous, actually, me personally, because I looked at it strictly from the angle of content creation.
Utilizing it as a tool.
Yeah, that was just right from the rip. I was like, oh, man. So if I don't have to freeze my butt off on a frozen lake to get this shot that I want, in the middle of February with like 26 inches of ice to go through, like I got to get this special shot. I could actually do it from the comfort of my home or my office. That to me, I was like, that's incredible. And it never gave me that. It never gave me that in the beginning. But now if I need that kind of like establishing shot, I can get it in one of these programs. So I was hoping the entire time when I first started with it, I was like, please, like, keep advancing these tools. Like, they're gonna get better. This is like their infancy. So I really can't honestly see past like 6 months.
You really can't. You can't create a business plan, nothing, because it's on a daily, on a weekly, things are, look at OpenAI right now with their 12 days of Christmas.
Yeah. There's so much going on, like the deal, like that Runway made with Lionsgate, and that's going to become a more common thing, and I think that's how they're going to democratize how everyone gets paid as well, because maybe that'll be the way that the studios get in, do a giant deal with an AI company, and everything that is trained in the machine learning with the IP and the likeness is free game for the users of that platform. All the actors that were part of that IP probably got paid in that deal. That's how it should go. But that's where I think this is going in the future. Like if you say 5 years from now, I have no idea. Like even 6 months from now is a hard one.
How does someone find character? What is that? How do you keep it consistent?
Yeah. So, okay. So there's two ways. So, Well, they go hand in hand. So you have a character description, number one, right? You have your description of your character, exactly how you want them to look. Then if you Google MidJourney SREF codes, style reference codes, there'll be a bunch of websites that pop up that have a few thousand style reference codes a piece. And then you could scroll through and see the thumbnails until you find something that like speaks to you. And you could try different style reference codes until you get back more like less the what you're envisioning, or sometimes even better than what you're envisioning, by using some of these style reference codes. So once you land on a style reference that you like, that goes into every MidJourney prompt that you create.
And for the listeners, a style reference code, is it similar to a LUT, or would it be similar to a preset of, hey, it must have anime in it, it must have this tone?
So it's as simple as --SREF space and then a code. It's like just numbers.
I've seen that. Okay, now that makes sense.
It looks like, hey, I'll drop one of the. Let's see.
That makes sense, because I was playing with some prompts and I had it at the end. I was like, what the heck is this? Supposed to erase this part? And I'm like, it's not making sense. Now, would you take that image and apply it into reference usually?
So then once you have that image, that's when you can apply it as a character reference.
Because I've applied it to Kling.
Oh, so I thought like staying in MidJourney. If you can take that image and then bring it into image to video generation on either Kling or like Kling, Hailu, Runway, Luma. They all do image to video generation.
And Luma, is that the Dream Machine?
That is Dream Machine, yeah. Which is cool. It's a good tool to start with, and maybe stay with, depending on how someone's workflow is, because now that they have an update, you can create the images within Luma. And you could speak to Luma like you would speak to a person. You don't have to give it so many commands. You could be like, remember this character for future use, please, because I want to use it in a different film. And it'll speak to you back. And it'll tell you, yeah, I'll remember this, no problem. And it remembers. So, and you just got to name the character, really, so it can remember. So, there's little tricks with the new model that came out that are very helpful. But at any image that you make within Luma, you could just click a button and turn it into a video and give it a prompt. And you could extend up to, I think the longest clip I ever got out of Luma after extensions that actually stayed consistent was about 29 seconds. So that's a pretty long clip.
That is a long clip, because usually it's about 5 to 10 seconds we're getting. 10 seconds, it starts getting a little wonky at times.
Wonky, yeah. So that one, I noticed if I start with a wide establishing shot, I could extend with push-ins and like establishing kind of like deal, or pull-outs, depending on how I want to do it. For a pretty decent length, I could do like 3 or 4 extensions.
And then there's renderings, and, it's generating content. It takes a while.
It does.
So once you get it and it's not what you want, is that what kind of extends the 2-week process for you to kind of put things together? Would have been sped up if there was no lag there?
Yeah, I don't know if it was more of a combination of like life and work and also like the side projects. So it was more of that. Like I had limited time on some days that I could work on it, and I had more time on others. And then the days that I had more time on others, always something would pop up. So, but yeah, I came out with 2 in 4 weeks. So my goal is, my New Year's resolution is to try to see if I can come out with 1 a week. If I can get to 1 a week, that'd be a good place for me to be with that.
So Justin, before we get going here, what do we anticipate for you in 2025? What's some kind of personal goals you have with this, and where do you want to be?
I'm still in a brand building stage. I think the more content I can put out that is at the quality that I want to put out, the better. So like my goal is like, I'd like to see if I could come out with basically like a film a week. and all the smaller content, like for fun and YouTube, like that as well. But basically, right now, I'm my next year is going to be in the future is basically stuck between film and the other half with advertising. So I think that's going to be an area that is going to be the bread and butter for me, advertising and then making these films. I think the films they go kind of hand in hand.
So we might see an AI film festival in Canada, maybe?
Oh, that'd be cool. I could definitely connect you with the people that run it
Thank you.
in Arizona and in Seattle. So that would be pretty cool. We should definitely do one.
We got to kind of come up with something here and kind of bring it in.
Something will happen. Look, there's just because the country may not be there yet with it, there's still people playing with it. It's all over. You know, the fact that I'm working with someone that's in the Himalayas right now.
It just says we're moving there.
Everyone is. I look at it more. It's all about perspective. That's
Interesting.
how it really is. Like, if you fear this and you run away from it, it will catch up, and someone who knows how to use it will take your job. The AI doesn't know how to make a film. It doesn't. I have to tell it, or a filmmaker has to tell it exactly what it needs to generate. So it's generating, with a creative license, our imagination.
When I look at CGI, Avatar, Titanic, like it's been around.
It's been around a very long time. They've been slowly introducing in so many different ways, and everyone was okay with it because it was doing a tool that no one wanted to do. Now that it's doing a tool that it can do anything, really, now people are getting a little nervous. Yeah.
So before we leave the podcast, I've started something. What's a question you'd give to the next guest
Without knowing what the next guest is?
without knowing?
That's a really good one. What would be an AI film that they would want to see?
Perfect. Well, thanks for your time. Appreciate you.
Thank you for your time.